Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Whole bunch of DC stuff happening today in the TV universe. So they had a big Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, and Arrow panel. This is going to be all about the Flash. I'll do an Arrow video after this. But they just announced Kevin Smith is going to be directing an episode, one of the final episodes of The Flash this season. If you don't know what the TCAs are, they're basically like a big convention for television critics. It's an industry event where television networks explain what's going on with all their TV shows. CW has 4 different DC shows on its roster. There's Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and then there's the Vixen animated series, which you guys might not know about. They did confirm that that's getting a second series, and Vixen is going to go on Arrow, but I'll talk a little bit more about that during my Arrow Felicity Smoke video later tonight. There's a whole bunch of Arrow specific stuff going on. But let's talk about Kevin Smith doing The Flash. It's kind of funny, I laughed a little bit, because he's been talking so much about The Flash Season 1. He's one of those Hollywood guys that's participated in a lot of comic book projects, been attached to big film comic book projects, written comic books, but just doesn't watch a whole lot of TV. So hearing him talk about the TV shows is a little bit funny for me. He has a Batman podcast that he does, and on it before he said that Jason Mewes, of Jay and Silent Bob, is just like the craziest TV person, watches like every single show you could possibly imagine, and bugs him all the time to watch The Flash and all these other shows. So Kevin Smith relented, started watching The Flash, fell in love with it. Being someone who's a producer of films and television shows, without like a crazy number of projects going on right now, it makes sense that he would try to do an episode of The Flash at some point. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. So here's the thing though, they did say the episode would come in May. They didn't say which number it's going to be, but if the schedule for airing episodes this year is pretty similar to last year, then that would put episodes 21 to 23, the finale, in May, meaning that he'll definitely be directing one of those last couple of episodes. So last year, episode 21 was Grodd Lives. That was the big Gorilla Grodd episode that introduced him in a really big way. Episode 22 was the big Rogue Escape episode, and episode 23 was the finale. My big question that I had right after they announced the news was, would they actually let him direct the finale without ever having directed an episode of The Flash before? He hasn't worked with any of the Flash people before. The finales are usually like an all-hands-on-deck type of situation, so they'll probably try and play it safe in terms of the people that they hire to make the finale episode. People that have proven that they're awesome at directing Flash episodes. What I think they'll do with Kevin Smith, though, being that he's a really good director, has a really firm understanding of this comic book universe and the tone of The Flash, is they'll give him an episode where they do a really big comic book character, but one that isn't going to make or break the season. Like, I think a really good example is if you guys ever watched Smallville, there was an episode of Smallville that Jeff Johns wrote. It was the Legion episode. He did Legion of Superheroes. Really important group of characters from the comics, but the episode itself wasn't a finale, it wasn't a premiere, it was just somewhere in the middle. It was just intended to be this really awesome episode by itself. So I think it's going to be the same situation with Kevin Smith, where it's like they do a really big Flash-based character, but it's not going to be the finale. They also confirmed that Flash Arrow characters are totally going to cross over with Legends of Tomorrow. That's not really news, we kind of knew that was going to happen, but they did say because Legends of Tomorrow is a time travel based show, it's really hard to weave the narrative together with Arrow and Flash, so I think they're mostly going to let the characters cross over without letting the specific plots cross over. So for example, when Flash characters cross over to Legends of Tomorrow, they're not going to be doing Zoom type things. The Flash characters will just be helping with whatever the plot is for Legends of Tomorrow. I'll talk about it a little bit more during my Legends of Tomorrow video, but they did say, one of the fun things to look forward to is seeing older and younger versions of Barry and Oliver, which I think is cool. We've seen a younger version of Barry. We've seen Kid Barry several times, but we haven't seen an older version of Barry, the one that the Reverse Flash grew to hate. Reverse Flash, of course, totally coming back in episode 11. The title of that episode is The Reverse Flash Returns, which I think is kind of a lame title, but it gets the idea across. Reverse Flash coming back. It's going to be awesome. One thing they really haven't addressed yet that I'm looking forward to in the back half is them actually going to Earth 2. There's going to be a lot more Earth 2 stuff happening, and not just in flashbacks, in present day. What I'm hoping they do is a spin-off comic that ties in with the TV show based on Earth 2 stories. Like they explain what's going on Earth 2. They provide some more context. You guys may have heard that John Barrowman, Malcolm Merlyn from Arrow, is writing a comic book that's going to explain what happened to Malcolm Merlyn between seasons 3 and 4. It's a Merlyn comic book set in the Arrowverse. It'll drop weekly. It'll be cheaper than a normal comic because it's coming every single week. And I think the first issue drops on the 13th. They didn't say anything about a new Flash comic. They introduced King Shark in the Flash Season 0 comic book. That was the one that tied in with the TV show last year. Hopefully they'll continue that, but I really want to see them use it to tell more Earth 2 stories. And when I say Earth 2, I mean Earth 2 of the TV show. There is a DC Earth 2 comic book, but it's very different. It's something that's very, very different. There's going to be a whole lot more Wally West week to week. I think Wally West is going to be in every single episode for the rest of the season. And just like last year, with us learning more about Eobard Thawne week to week, I think we're going to be learning more about Zoom. But I don't think we're going to see him pull the mask off and find out who he really is until the last couple of episodes. Zoom wants to be the fastest speedster. He wants to take Barry's speed, but we don't know why. It's silly to think that he wants to be fast just for the sake of being fast. Clearly he wants the speed to achieve some insurmountable goal, but we don't know what that is. That's really what they're going to tease out over the back half of the season. Why is Zoom so intent on killing other speedsters and taking their speed? Just to circle back around, let me know in the comments though, what do you think about Kevin Smith directing an episode of The Flash? Which one do you think it'll end up being? Will it be episode 21, 22, or do you think they actually will give him the finale? Just to tease something Andrew Kreisberg, the showrunner of The Flash, said something about this year. He said that in the season 1 finale, when we see the Barry with the white logo tell Barry of season 1, don't save your mother, you can't save her, you have to let her die. He said that we would travel back to that moment. We would learn more about what's going on with that other version of the Flash. So I think based on what they've done with the costume so far this year, this is our version of the Flash in season 2. Season 2 Flash telling season 1 Flash, no, you can't save your mother. But the next question is why does season 2 Barry have to go back to stop himself? The way they play with time can be a little confusing, which is why in my Legends of Tomorrow video, I'll explain a little bit about how they're handling the rules of time travel. They have like their own rules that they established in the pilot episode, so right away you will totally understand why they make certain decisions. Giveaway time. I will say congratulations to Eric Figuera. You win the reverse flash ring for this week. I'll start a new round of the giveaway whenever I post my Arrow video later tonight, and I'll be talking all about that Felicity Smoke promo that's going around. All I'll say right now is that anybody who has watched The Walking Dead knows not to take trailers at face value. So while you guys wait for me to finish that Arrow video, you can click here to learn all about King Shark coming back in episode 15 of The Flash, and you can click here for that Batman Do You Bleed teaser from last night. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.